There is no end in sight to the Israeli onslaught in Gaza. Though the Qatari PM has said a deal between Israel and Hamas on return of hostages is close to fruition, Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman has said that his confidence is growing and that a deal will be reached soon. Now, Sheikh Mohammed said that the challenges facing the agreement are just practical and logistical.
The deal is going through ups and downs from time to time throughout the last few weeks. But I think that, I'm now more confident that we are close enough to reach to a deal that can bring the people safely back to their homes, whether they are the hostages on Hamas side or whatever the exchange that will take place from the Israeli side.
Now, this even as a member of Israel's war cabinet, Benny Gantz said his priority is to get the hostages back. He added that Israel has decades if he needed to destroy Hamas, but the country does not have that much time to return the abducted people back home. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and the White House rejected a Washington Post report which claimed Israel, US and Hamas had reached an agreement to release the hostages. It said a deal on release of hostages would happen in exchange for a 5-day pause in the fighting. Netanyahu also said that there is no deal on the table and he cannot elaborate further. According to reports, Hamas is ready to release 60 to 70 hostages. They demand a 5-day ceasefire. However, Israel is against this idea, as it claims Hamas will use the ceasefire to regroup.
ونقول للاحتلال الذي تجاوزت خسائره 180 دبابة وناقلة جند وآلية عسكرية ومئات القتلى والجرحى في صفوف جنوده وضباطه خلال أسبوعين فقط. نحن لازلنا في بداية المعركة ولازلنا في أول الطريق وأول الشوط وإن القادم بإذن الله أكبر وأعظم.
Families of the hostages continue to pile pressure on the Israeli Prime Minister for their release. Thousands of marchers, including relatives of more than 50 hostages held by Hamas, reached the Prime Minister's office on Saturday. However, on Friday, they had embarked on their 4th leg of a 5-day walk from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem and called on the Israeli government to bring some 240 hostages home. The marchers traversed 70 kilometers to Netanyahu's office and urged Israel's war cabinet to do more to rescue their loved ones. Early in the war, Qatar negotiated a deal with Hamas to free 2 American-Israeli hostages. And a few days later, the militants released 2 elderly Israeli women. But since then, nothing substantial has happened. We earlier spoke to Scott Lucas, a professor of international politics, Clinton Institute, University College, Dublin. Listen in to what he had to say.
If we get a 5-day humanitarian pause, what the international community is hoping, including the Indian government, for example, is that you can extend that pause and make it longer. So 5 days becomes a week, becomes a couple of weeks, or you have another pause very quickly that follows, and then you back off of the extension of the fighting. But I think we've already posed the question, which is, will the Israeli war cabinet allow that? Will they simply allow a one-off humanitarian pause to be extended? And as you quite rightly put it, will Hamas allow that? Will Hamas allow civilians to be moved to safety? Will Hamas allow some type of international provision for security in Gaza, which bypasses Hamas, at least temporarily? Because I think most of the international community, while criticizing the Israeli attacks, is saying at the same time that Hamas is no longer a legitimate government in Gaza after what they did on October 7th.